welcome to the Deep Dive. So today we're focusing on this really analytical strategy piece titled Lamine Yamal versus the World, the Deadly Temptation. Our mission for you today is to explore this super fragile intersection of teenage youth, massive sudden wealth, and just the crushing expectations of global football. Okay, let's unpack this. The core tension the source sets up is that Yamal's greatest enemies aren't even opposing players on the pitch anymore.
Right. It's not the defenders trying to tackle him. It's the off-field distractions.
Yeah, specifically women, parties, and just extreme wealth.
Exactly. But, before we examine those specific traps he faces, we really have to understand the sheer financial gravity of his current position.
I mean, he's basically a multi-billion euro investment for the football world.
He absolutely is. And there is a massive risk involved if his focus becomes divided at that incredibly vulnerable age of 17 to 19.
Totally. It's honestly like handing a high schooler the keys to a Fortune 500 company before they can even legally buy a drink.
That is a great analogy. And what's fascinating here is why this immense financial valuation makes him such an incredibly vulnerable asset. It demands a level of maturity you just rarely see in teenagers.
Right, because his brain literally hasn't finished developing yet.
Precisely. His prefrontal cortex, which is what handles impulse control and long-term risk assessment, is years away from being fully formed.
Wow.
Yet he has to navigate a multi-billion euro ecosystem with absolute focus.
It's wild. And because the financial stakes are so astronomically high, the football world is kind of terrified of history repeating itself, right? Like looking at past talents who fell into these worldly traps.
Yeah, the source draws a really sharp contrast here. The question is, will Yamal become the next Messi or, the next Ronaldinho?
Right, because Messi had that laser focus.
He did. He lived almost completely for his sport. But Ronaldinho, whose career famously declined way earlier than it should have, he really embraced the lifestyle, the parties, and lost that singular drive.
Okay, but wait, I have to push back a little bit here.
Sure.
I mean, we are talking about a teenager. Isn't it completely normal for a 17-year-old to date and go to parties? Like, why is the source framing totally average high school behavior as a failed distraction?
That is the core issue right there. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's not the behavior itself that's the problem. It's the modern, algorithm-driven environment.
Ah, social media.
Exactly. Think about Ronaldinho's era versus today. Back then, a player could party somewhat under the radar, but today, every interaction is filmed, analyzed, and monetized by the public.
Yeah, there's always a camera.
Right. So the sheer scale of the temptations, combined with this massive public scrutiny, literally transforms normal teenage behavior into career-ending worldly traps.
So a standard teenage lapse in judgment could, instantly tank a club's brand valuation or spark a media crisis.
Precisely. The ecosystem essentially weaponizes normal youth.
Wow. So I guess that leaves us with the ultimate takeaway question from the source. Does Yamal actually possess the incredibly strong mentality required to resist these intense worldly temptations?
He basically has to mature faster than almost anyone else just to survive his own success.
Yeah, he really does. Which leaves you, the listener, with a final, slightly provocative thought to ponder today.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, if a teenager's personal life is now considered the biggest threat to a multi-billion euro starting investment, at what point will these mega clubs attempt to contractually dictate a young player's dating and social life off the pitch just to protect their financial asset?
I mean, when the stakes get that high, the line between athlete and asset gets really blurred.
It really does. So next time you watch a teenage prodigy lighting up the pitch, just remember the hardest game they're playing is completely off the field.